Energy is directly connected to our health and our spiritual state. If you are constantly emotional, regardless of whether those emotions are positive or negative, you are draining this energy. In other words, you are draining it and not for any purpose, just scattering it into the space around you. People with a high energy potential can even harm those around them with such emotional outbursts. As a result, people might start to feel unwell, or they might twist an ankle or get scratched, or their car might get damaged. So not only can you harm yourself, but you can also harm those around you in this way. That's why it's important to interact with the world around us in an environmentally conscious way. I want to encourage you all to express yourselves more through your deep feelings, rather than just through your emotions. In fact, our health is directly connected to our energy. It's a slightly different sequence. Energy comes first and health comes second. Accordingly, if a person starts having problems on the energetic level, they eventually manifest on the physical body. And if you dig even deeper, problems first begin at the level of consciousness, and then they are reflected on the energetic level. On the energetic level, constricting crystallization structures and spasms appear. These spasms prevent energy from moving freely and without obstruction, and this ultimately leads to the breakdown of the physical body. So the sequence is not as he describes it. In general, when we talk about spirituality, it is implied that a person has some kind of value system, a value system that aligns with the Creator's intentions, that resonates with pure processes, that integrates into this reality and allows a person to have certain experiences. These are very deep, very intimate experiences, deeply connected to God, the soul, and love. In other words, spirituality is not simply a casual term you can throw around lightly. Simultaneously, an individual's internal energy can be developed and trained, without any spirituality at all. You take exercises, you take techniques, you start training yourself with these techniques, and your energy level steadily increases. So it's really not quite as straightforward as he says. I personally know of specific examples where a person, for instance, has a very strong energy, which has absolutely nothing to do with their spirituality. And then his life suddenly comes to an end. His energy doesn't just go anywhere. He simply loses his vitality. You see, it is absolutely crucial to explain clearly to people who are thinking about this, those who are earnestly seeking deeper knowledge and understanding, and those who are searching for the true essence, that energy, strength, and spirituality are distinct and separate concepts. They are so fundamentally different that energy strength won't save you from death in any way, while true spirituality provides you with vitality. It gives you vitality in such volume and in such quantity that sooner or later you yourself will simply stop wanting to stay here. You yourself will say, well, that's it, I've played enough here, I'm leaving. The departure will not be death, but simply leaving. It's not for nothing that people say, nowadays, yes, they start labeling everyone indiscriminately. Someone got old and died. Oh, he left this place. No, he just died, that's all. People who leave here, they don't even leave traces of their physical body. They completely dissolve into pure energy, and that's not death. It's a further birth. But this, right now, we have drifted a bit too far off the main topic. But in general, throughout various ancient traditions and world religions, all of this has actually taken place. Again, if we take the example of Christianity, somehow, yes, during the miracle of the resurrection, Jesus simply dematerialized over there and then materialized right here. And on the shroud of Turin, marks resembling burns were left behind. Those are his outlines on the fabric. In Buddhism, the rainbow body is a fairly well-known way of departing, so there's no need to lump all of this together. Spirituality, I repeat, is a special value system that allows one to synchronize with the original source. It is a unique path for a person. Their aspirations, their actions, their deeds. He knows why he does them. And his path is not limited to the physical world. On the contrary, he leaves from here. And as for the concept of energy, this power, strength, flows, and emotions, he can scatter them all around. He will discuss this later on. That is a different matter. And you can't lump spirituality and energy into the same basket because they are different things.
Here it's probably more a question of terminology because, no.
Here it's a question about the words we use for real processes. So if we're going to talk about terminology now, then of course, sure, we can throw out the word spirituality. I can replace it with another word. Love unconditionally. Acceptance. Interaction with the soul. Connection with the soul. Synchronization with the original source. These are all synonyms for spirituality, This process must exist since it already does. If a person doesn't have this process, their energy won't save them. Energy is something that can be trained. It's something that can be achieved without any spirituality at all. That is, I don't want to know anything about any soul. I don't want to synchronize with any creator. I just want to be thrown around in all directions. Well, go ahead. Here's an exercise for you. Almost my entire first course consists of these exercises. Practice, and you'll have all of that.
Like energy, is it connected to our health?
The concept of health, generally speaking, is an essential mechanism for restraining the foolishness of human beings. Human foolishness occurs when a person neglects their own inner vitality and well-being. And a person's vitality comes from the strength of the connection they have with their soul. That's how I twisted and turned it around. So, when a person starts rapidly losing their deep essential connection with their own soul, no matter what the specific reasons might be, their illness often steps in to stop them, effectively distracting them from that destructive process. For example, you can take a moment to analyze your own life a little bit and try to remember similar instances. For example, you got nervous about something, got upset, got emotional, and suddenly, bam, you come down with something like tonsillitis. You hated someone, cursed them, I don't know, took offense, and suddenly, bam, they find cancer or a tumor. And in most cases, it's you who gets diagnosed with it, not the person who, in your understanding, turned out to be the scoundrel. You started getting indignant, thinking the world is somehow wrong, and began constantly making complaints about reality. And then, suddenly, you experience some kind of material loss. These mechanisms really do exist. I explain and talk about them very often, and I can certainly explain once again right now that there are fundamental laws of physics and universal laws of reality. And although we can potentially break free from these laws, it would take an absolutely tremendous amount of effort to do so. For the most part, most people fall under these laws and do nothing at all about it. They don't resist in any way. If we choose the most accurate words to describe what is truly happening, the whole problem, the very thing that destroys us, lies in denying the fundamental fact that you yourself are this entire reality, in denial of the simple fact that you are who you are originally, at your very core. It's not that obvious, but I'll try to explain it anyway. As soon as possible, a person begins to generate, precisely generate, position himself in any form of rejection of reality, any form, no matter what. That is, for example, I can be offended by someone. That is, I distance myself from this person. I push them away, I say that they are wrong, unworthy, somehow not good, they acted incorrectly, I don't want to have anything to do with them, I want to detach myself from them. But reality is arranged in such a way that the person you are offended by, and you yourself, are a single organism. In other words, you are essentially trying to detach yourself from the organism that gives you vitality. It's the same thing. It's like two of my cells on my hand have a quarrel, and one cell says, "That's it, I don't want to have anything to do with you." And what does it do? It turns into a cancer cell. Immediately the immune system comes in and destroys it. If there are too many of these cells, the immune system can't cope, yes. But any cells that don't want to be part of the organism are destroyed by the immune system. Look at various medical sources of knowledge. It's all described there. In the world, in energies, in reality, it's exactly the same. As soon as you start to deny her, as soon as you start to make claims, in other words, when you begin to reject her deeply on the level of your consciousness, that's it. That's already a path to problems. Yes, they won't happen instantly. They'll accumulate, let's say, like a snowball. Any generation of rejection is already a problem. This happens at the level of consciousness. That is, in your consciousness, you allow yourself to believe that you are not part of the whole. That's it. At this point, you're already signing your own death warrant.
All right. Where is the line between, let's say, on one hand, defending your boundaries, having some kind of hierarchy, for example, in the workplace or in relationships, and on the other hand, accepting everything?
There is no line, it's a simultaneous process.
It reminds me of that saying, if someone strikes you on the cheek, turn the other one.
That approach has its place, but some disagree. I don't agree with it.
But is that the right thing to do? So does that count as acceptance?
It all depends on what the person is doing. If a person says, "I've decided to leave this place," then they will be forced, truly and absolutely forced, because no one will just let them go from here until they have paid off all of their debts in full. That is, to untie all karmic knots, to make up for everything he broke here, to gather up all the messes he left behind. Figuratively speaking, if he doesn't do that, The construct of reality is such that he won't be able to leave from here. He'll only be able to perish here without dealing with any of it. Accordingly, if a person takes up spirituality, if he truly wants to be reborn and leave this space, then by declaring and affirming such an intention, he immediately and automatically sets in motion the process of untying karmic knots. It's just a word. No, not those knots like the ones we tie on our shoes. No, it's just a word to describe these things. That is, all the debts he has accumulated here will be collected from him. If at some point he punched someone in the face and didn't get anything in return, in other words, if the situation remained unbalanced, and then someone came and hit him back to restore that balance, well, that means the debt has been paid. You see, right now it might sound more like a joke, but it really does happen. Yes, we can repay debts in other ways. Let's say, for example, you used to get into fights at school, caused a lot of chaos, upset a lot of people because of it. And at some point, you're like, oh God, that's it, I'm done, I'm turning to God, that's it. You can burn through these actions with your own energy. You need to have that energy, you need to have that potential, you need to somehow release it. When we grieve and bleed and give more than we take from this world, then little by little our debts start to burn away, to be compensated. But if you don't do this, your debts will be compensated in other ways, on the physical level. That is, if you stole, you will lose a lot of property until everything is balanced out. If you chose to be aggressive, if you attacked, then you will get hit right in the face a few times. And you have no way to respond because you are simply getting back exactly what you yourself did. The way you treat the world is the way the world treats you. You might not get hit in the face, yes, that happens too. But if you did get hit, well, it means that reality simply couldn't write off that debt in any other way. So everything depends on a person's attitude. If a person positions themselves like, no, I want to play here, enjoy myself, have fun, satisfy my passions, all that, well, then it's not the time yet. It's still too early to just get hit in the face and do nothing. You can hit back in response too.
What does it mean to give back to the world? Does it mean being accepting, being kind, helping everyone? Or how do you see it?
No, not at all. In order to be able to speak with precision and clarity on this topic, it is crucial that we first develop the ability to perceive and understand the nature of energy. Without these abilities, we won't be able to have a dialogue about this. And so when a person discovers these abilities and starts to perceive energy, they see essentially just two basic fundamental processes. First, some actions. It doesn't matter, kindness or not kindness, something else. Detached actions, something conscious or unconscious, it doesn't matter. A person performs some action and their energetic configuration changes. If their energetic configuration changes so that their energy becomes more fiery, more dynamic, and if it flows out of them in large quantities, then it's a positive action. That's when you are paying off your debts. If the action you performed leads to you tightening up, tensing, and your energy can't flow through you, essentially we are conductors. Just like a wire through which current flows, if the wire is broken, too thin, too old, or made from some wrong alloy, it will burn, it will heat up, it will burn out, it will be in bad shape. If its insulation is bad, then the wire is already compromised. That's it. But if the wire... This material is made of pure copper, being thick and solid with no breaks or damage. It is capable of conducting a huge electrical current through itself very efficiently. We are conductors. If a person performs an action that leads to high conductivity and allows energy to flow through them, that's a good action. That's what leads them to freedom. If a person performs an action and becomes a poor conductor of energy, then engaging in harmful behaviors, that is exactly what drives them toward crystallization, spasms, and physical tension.
Would it be correct to understand that nearly all of our health problems come from disruptions in our energy system?
Absolutely, yes. But that's not the cause, that's the consequence. Disruption of the energy system is a consequence. The cause lies in your consciousness. How do you perceive yourself here? If you perceive yourself here as having such a right as if you reject the body while being a part of it, then that's it. Your energy system will break down and your physical body will break down too. If you realize that each of us is Mahadi, that everything came from a single source, and will return there as well, that here there is one single organism, one single being, then you are simply playing in this world. Like a child plays, playing with toy soldiers or dolls, or nowadays, playing on the computer. There are some young children who do this quite obsessively, right? You can clearly see that the individual has completely lost touch with reality. And there are children who do it in a fun way. It's even enjoyable to watch them. That is, they don't get spoiled, they don't get stuck, they don't transmit, they don't get emotional with this aggression or anger. All these qualities, which in one way or another are also not approved of in spirituality. What exactly is not approved of in that place? Anger, aggression, resentment, envy, complaints, hatred, or despair.
Well, maybe fear as well. That's also quite a vivid emotion.
No, fear we can't. Just bundle it all up together with anger and resentment. In that exact way. These are all actions and behaviors of a person who betrays their own integrity. And
It accordingly drains their energy.
no, they don't drain it, they block it. They don't let the energy flow through them. To make it clear, imagine a situation where something doesn't suit you and you refuse to breathe. I don't know, maybe the weather is bad, that's it. And no one is doing anything. But on the energetic level, that's exactly what we do.
And what about a bias towards positive emotions? How does that affect our energy?
Difference. Emotions are just that. There is no such thing as positive or negative emotions there.
So, in general, they're perceived the same way?
You see, the funny thing is, for example, a person can laugh all evening and then wake up to a bunch of problems in the morning. And they don't understand how that's possible, like, I didn't do anything wrong. Emotions themselves are already a problem. By the way, he actually said something quite right further on. It's better to pay attention to feelings, not emotions. But he didn't explain the difference between those two words. So he drew a line saying that there's this, and that's bad. Then there's this, which is good. Emotions are bad, feelings are good. I agree with him on that. But go ahead and explain, what's the difference really? How do you tell one from the other? I'm ready to say that all emotions are bad, all of them. Both negative and positive emotions. It's all bad. First of all, when you get emotional, you become food. At that moment, inorganic beings feed on you. Secondly, yes, that's absolutely right. You spill out nothingness. Not energy, but what you spill is your consciousness. We have mechanisms. We are conductors. We are conductors of energy. But we can't lose this body of conductivity. That is, if a copper wire started throwing away its copper, it would stop being a wire. It's the same with us. There is energy. It's like electricity. We can let as much of it pass through as we want. A lot. It's infinite. These are cycles, the universe circulating within the cosmos. But there is consciousness. That is your body. Discard it, spit it out, smear it across reality, and you become thinner, more ethereal. And this consciousness, on the contrary, we gather it, we draw it into ourselves. But you can't draw it into yourself if you don't give it away. That's why this multifaceted, absolutely real process becomes clearer with just a few words and 5 minutes of explanation. But it does exist. And how can you even distinguish an emotion from a feeling? When you deeply experience a powerful feeling, your energy begins a process to rapidly accelerate, ignite, shine, radiate, and glow. And in that very same transformative moment, your energy flows out, while consciousness flows directly into the core of your being. At that moment, you multiply yourself. If you experience an emotion, your energy becomes constricted and spasms, and your consciousness is squeezed out of you. You lose it. It's a diametrically opposite process. That's the difference.
In general, is it even possible not to feel emotions? Does that mean a state of complete detachment from everything close to a person?
Wait, why detachment?
So you're saying that any experience of emotions, whether vivid, positive, or negative, leads to your energy becoming spasmed. In other words, it blocks your energy.
Let's go over this again. Look, we have two words. One word is emotion, the other is feeling. For now, these are just words. One is not recommended to practice, the other, no questions asked. If what you experience leads to a spasm and a loss of your awareness, you're experiencing an emotion. If what you experience causes your energy to ignite and consciousness to flow into you, you're experiencing a feeling. That is, you first need to look at what's happening in your energy before talking about this emotional feeling.
But again, not everyone can distinguish between the two.
Of course, that's why you need to practice. That's why my practical energy course starts with learning to feel your own energy. It's impossible to explain to someone what the world looks like if their eyes are closed. It's impossible. He will still imagine something else in his mind, especially if he has never opened his eyes even once in his life. Well, that's just how it is. That's just a given. That's how this world works. So when we ask, oh, is being kind spiritual or not spiritual? Hell if I know. You need to look at your energy first. Here's one person who pretended to be kind and then died of cancer. Oh, so does that mean you shouldn't be kind? But what did you call kindness? Just because he did something good for you, does that make him kind? Well, he didn't do that good deed for someone else. The envious person watching them do something good for you actually harms the one envying you at that moment. For some reason, he does it for you, but not for them.
But why?
It's just interpersonal relationships. It's not about spirituality. Every person who puts these labels, kind, responsive, loving, views it through a certain lens. Me, how does he treat me? But how does that person treat his own soul at that moment? If he wipes his feet on his own soul and then goes and does good for someone else, his soul will say, hey, what about me? What are you doing? That person has their own soul. Where are you going? We don't feel it because our hearts harden, close off, spasm, and the body falls apart. Everyone says, you're great, a hero, keep it up, here's another medal. By then you've no health, no stability, nothing left. Your eyes twitching like this, but at least you're a hero. People call you a good person when you do things for them, but that isn't about spirituality. Spirituality is when you do good for your own soul, but...
What if that harms other people in the process?
How?
Well, one way or another.
Well, one way or another. What if tomorrow aliens attack us and wipe everyone out? Then why are we even filming all this? Energy, the structure of the world, and processes are pretty stubborn things. We can theorize about all sorts of things for a long time and with great effort. All these what-ifs and buts, but it's enough just to look at how energy moves in a person, and you can tell them, you're dying right now. But I'm doing everything right. Well, you are doing everything right, but you're dying. You're doing everything right in order to die right now. Within the next year, 2 or 3, that's it.
Can a person heal themselves with the help of energy?
Of course they can. There are many such cases, and even special sets of techniques and exercises designed to restore and trigger the regeneration process of the physical body. Of course, everything can be done. Our physical body, by its very nature, is already further removed from the root cause. That is, first, a distortion occurs in our consciousness. Then this distortion in consciousness leads to crystallizations in energetic processes. We lose the ability for good conductivity, and because of this, the physical body begins to suffer. And when the physical body can no longer withstand the loads placed upon it, it breaks down. Everything starts at the level of consciousness. Once again, at the level of consciousness, we begin to deny the fact that we are a single organism. That's it. Once you realize this, allowed self-hatred, and taken offense at yourself. Resentment, on the energetic level, is a wish for the death of another consciousness. So, for example, if I'm offended by you, it's like saying, you are not worthy of life. And the fact that we are one organism, well, who cares? You are not worthy of living. That's it. I don't care that we are one organism. Just imagine, right now my brain in my head looks at my heart and says, listen, heart, I think I'm offended by you. You are unworthy. The heart would stop, right? And the brain wouldn't survive. That's how interconnected everything is here. And I haven't even started talking yet about your relationship with your own soul. That's a whole different story. So, what happens if we move through this world? Through postulates, rules, orders, dogmas? Well, that's a dead end. You won't move from your spot at all. You'll get confused and confuse everyone around you. If you evaluate based on vision, extrasensory vision, and observe how energy moves through you, you can no longer be deceived. Everyone says, you're great, you're smart, keep going, you can do it, but your energy starts to close off. Like, no, guys, wait, let me catch my breath. First, I need to get my energy in order. Or maybe they're just standing there saying, come on, go ahead, even more, you're doing great. Well, yes, you did it. Everything is actually going perfectly fine. But then you suddenly notice your heart starts to deflate. And then you're like, okay, that's it, guys, Om Devi, I am definitely out of here. My soul is more important to me than your whole good job thing.
How else can you increase your energy level? So besides practices, besides maybe a healthy lifestyle or some reasonable physical activity, what would you personally highlight?
Good-naturedness and adventurousness. If you don't take anything too seriously, if deep down you're always good-natured, sure, you can say, I won't do this, or I will do this, or you're a scoundrel, or you're a good person, or who are these people? I'm seeing them for the first time. But inside, in your soul, you're still calm. You still don't wish harm on anyone. You still don't want to harm anyone. You still don't want to kill anyone. You know, I've had some cases in my practice when endlessly insulted, humiliated women would come to me just ready to kill everyone around them. And they'd say, Anton, we need strength. I look at the person and say, wow, who did you so wrong? I told them, okay, let's not play this ridiculous game called train me so I can take someone out. Let me just give you the ritual directly right now. You'll perform it and get back at the person who wronged you so badly. They ask, wait, is there really such a ritual? I say, yes, there is. You don't even need to practice. Just perform this ritual properly and you'll kill the person. No, wait, I don't actually want to kill them. And that's it. The person, they begin to come out of their endless, angry, tense state. And you know what's funny? The thing is, as many times as I've made such offers, for some reason, men never come to me. Men don't come to me with this kind of request, but not a single woman has ever used this ritual either. When you actually tell someone, yes, you're about to kill the person you hate. But do you understand what's funny about it? When a person carries this inside, when this is an area of tension within them, they're already doing it without any ritual. They're already committing the act. They just don't realize it. So, as soon as I give someone the chance to realize, are you about to do this with your own hand? To kill someone, they say. No, wait, hold on, it's not that serious. That's it. The level of seriousness immediately drops. But when they don't realize that they're just regularly killing someone, they keep doing it because they don't understand, they don't see it. And so when you help someone see this through practice, it still takes effort. It takes time because a person needs to practice. They need to learn to perceive it. Later, they'll notice it and say, wow, I had no idea what I was actually doing. After all, we are quite multidimensional beings. That's why I say, let's go straight to the physical level. You do something, here's the result. That's it. They don't want to, but on the energetic level, they still do it because they're not aware of it. When a person doesn't see they're killing someone, how can rules teach them how to live? With rules, there's no way. It's impossible. You might sincerely believe that you're doing the right thing, but at the same time, you're losing your connection, for example, with your own soul at that moment. Do you know that the soul is more important than your own child? This is written in every religion.
Or like on an airplane, first put the mask on yourself and then...
Well, this has analogies in other situations too. Because if you don't save your own soul, you'll destroy both yourself and your child. Very few people think about this. And it's the same thing on an airplane. If you don't save yourself, your child simply won't make it.
You have to start with yourself. That will set things in motion and start all the other processes.
Well, that's absolutely true. You just also need to see what you're doing. Really see it. Without this concept, extrasensory perception, vision, trying to step into spirituality is just continuing to be a blind kitten, bumping into the wall, even though the whole time the door was right behind you. That's why first comes extrasensory perception, vision, the practices that open all this up. And only then do you worry about who to fight, where to run, like in the TV series. All that comes later. Otherwise, if you try to follow all these endless rules, postulates and dogmas, you'll just get lost. You'll get lost. No way. The brain can't handle it. It can't process all that information.
Anton, thank you for your answers. Be sure to write your questions and impressions. We'll be glad to hear from you.
95% of people don't even realize that within them lies a power that grants access to any possibility, a successful business, strong relationships, health, and self-fulfillment. It allows you to hear your soul and remember your true nature, your divine nature. This power is your energy. When it is blocked, you feel tired and upset. But when your energy flows freely and without obstacles, you are full of strength and capable of achieving any goal. Everyone can feel the movement of energy in their body. Are you ready to see this for yourself right now? I've prepared a practice where, in just 3 minutes, you'll become aware of the state of your energy and be able to activate the inner power that has been blocked for many years. The practice is available for a limited time. Right now, follow the link provided below the video and unlock the incredible source of power within yourself.